All right, we're talking about the big four of a different rock genre. So this time we're talking about emo. Emo may have been the first rock subgenre I actively was aware of becoming a thing as an active music listener. I was 18 in 2004, so and not the most aware of music or different bands before around that time, late high school, getting into college. So I actively noticed emo becoming a thing. It kind of actively rebelled against it. Like it wasn't my jam, but of course now it's I'm just it's nostalgic for a certain time period in music. And when you see all the bands that are emo and you've heard all the bands that are emo, you're like, okay, there's more here than I particularly liked at the time. And in fact, one of the songs I didn't particularly like at the time, I like very much now, and actually started messing with it on piano. But emo is in a lot of different places, so it's very tempting to make a big four emo bands out of like the best band or best performing band out of that genre, like monetarily, out of that subgenre monetarily. But I think this one's pretty clear cut, and that there's definitely four very successful emo bands that I wouldn't say stood the test of time, but that they were so popular, made so much money, and their sound evolved so much that they kept being popular longer than anything else. When other emo bands were kind of like falling off the wayside, or music just moving on from them entirely. So um, I think at the top of my list would have to be My Chemical Romance. So My Chemical Romance is a lot of things. I definitely first time I heard it, I was like, "What is this?" But I was sold when I heard the song "Famous Last Words," and when I listened to the entire album, Black Parade, back to back, it was like there was definitely a link between music I liked and bands I liked and this music, in that the people in My Chemical Romance were inspired by those bands too. So if I had an interest in Queen, for example, Queen is one of my favorite bands of all time. It makes sense that I connected with Black Parade because it definitely has similarities with Queen music and sometimes even Pink Floyd music, which is also a band that I do enjoy a great deal. So My Chemical Romance, I think, kind of sits really pretty on the strength of a couple albums, especially Black Parade, and that's the one I'm most familiar with. But between that and some of the singles, I think I like them the most out of all those emo bands. They do kind of represent the more gothy subset of emo music, so we got a genre down there. When it comes to other big emo bands, look, I don't like Fall Out Boy. Um, I think it sounds like a bunch of frat bros doing pop punk stuff, and that's about it. And I think that's an accurate assessment. But they were very popular. They made a whole bunch of money, and they even came back afterwards to be very popular and make a whole bunch of money later. So their enduring legacy as an incredibly popular and successful act means, hey, guess what? They're part of the big four. Panic at the Disco, I could say a lot of the same things about. I wouldn't call Brendan Urie pretty much the only person that matters in Panic at the Disco at this point in time a frat boy. He's more of a theater kid, I would say, that continues to make more and more pop sounding emo music. So very, very successful. Not my jam. And it's crazy to think how young that band was when they started. He's still making music now, and he still seems to be doing pretty good. So definite third one in there. The fourth one, I think, if you were going by like sub genre and you wanted to be really accurate to what emo is and could be, you'd probably want a screamo band in there. But I wouldn't say any of them were on the level of popularity and were close. I enjoy some songs by The Used myself, but I just don't think their popularity is there. You could probably do something from an earlier subset of emo. that people still consider emo. I like Jimmy Eat World a lot and a lot of their singles, but I think you're just gonna have to say the other member of the Big Four is Paramore. Paramore, very successful, has continued to be successful as their sound has evolved, and they never really stopped. And they just kind of keep making music that people like. So I think the Big Four of emo is My Chemical Romance, Paramore, Fall Out Boy, and Panic at the Disco. And frankly, that's my order of how much I like them. My Pandora list, my Pandora application gets a little weird because I'll be listening to something with My Chemical Romance, and then one of these other bands will pop on and be like, no, not this one, not this one. I need a very specific subset of emo. So you got My Chemical Romance, Paramore, Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco. I think that is my order of appreciation. Let me know what you think. I personally like a lot of AFI, or at least a couple of the albums from AFI around that time. And I recently discovered the band that does Ohio is for Lovers. That's a very interesting twist on emo music.